Joining us now, senior spokesperson for the Biden-Harris 2024 campaign, Kevin Munoz, who is ready for me to throw any question at him about the Biden administration and their plans for the 2024 election. Mr. Biden has come out swinging against former President Trump in Wisconsin on the issue of the economy. Kevin, I have to ask you, why do you believe your opponent is vulnerable on that issue?
Well, thank you for having me. Look, this election is going to come down to a simple question. Who is fighting for the American people? Who is fighting for the middle class? When you look at Joe Biden's agenda of creating jobs here at home, bringing them back to places like Wisconsin, lowering healthcare costs for every single American, creating more opportunity, making our communities safer, this is an agenda that matters to the American people, and they don't want a billionaire like Donald Trump that wants to reverse that progress. We have to talk about these issues. We have to make them real. And nowhere is that more real than in Wisconsin, where Donald Trump, when he was president, promised an eighth wonder of the world, creating jobs across the state. He never made that happen. Joe Biden brought more than $3 billion to the state with just his agenda. So we got to talk about that.
Oh, Kevin, that particular investor you're talking about, that never happened. It's also fair to say that that investor scaled back their level of operation in Wisconsin, so that plant was never built. That's one of the reasons. But, Kevin, I just had 3 small business owners on the show talking about the difficulties that they're facing owning and operating businesses here in the U.S. They're struggling right now. They're talking about how they're struggling to pay rent, how they're struggling to actually hire staff and pay them the wage that they need to keep their business up and running. I even closed by asking them, will this affect the way that you vote in the 2024 election? What is Mr. Biden and Ms. Harris's pitch to small business owners like them who are struggling right now to actually make rent and make payroll for their employees and keep their business open for their consumers?
Well, take a step back. Donald Trump failed on the pandemic, and small businesses, especially Black and Latino small businesses, were forced to shutter because he refused to act. What Joe Biden did when he came into office was not only get this pandemic under control, but put in the work, put in the investments to make sure that we could reopen these businesses and make them stronger than ever. We have put in more investments into small business than any president in recent history, and we have to continue to do that work, and we have to continue to show them that there's only one candidate in this race that is fighting for their small businesses, fighting for opportunity for every single community in the States. And it's certainly not a guy that yesterday was talking to big oil and bragging about how he will cut taxes for billionaires and do nothing to help small people.
Kevin, a new USA Today Suffolk University poll shows the race is now tied. The president's numbers have been improving with Hispanic voters and younger voters, where he's now ahead of former President Trump. He also has a wide lead among Black voters at 64% to 12%. President Biden is ahead among Black voters by that margin, but the USA Today notes that is far short of the levels the president saw in 2020. What do you make of that, Kevin, and how crucial are these voters in the next election?
Polls are going to show a new thing every single day, especially at this point in the cycle. They're noisy. What the most important thing this campaign can do is put in the work every single day on the ground, on the airwaves, through trusted messengers across each community in the states that will decide this election. And that's exactly what this May push that we're doing right now is helping us do. More investments into paid media, partnering with small business to talk about how Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are fighting for them, and putting in that work every single day to earn their vote. We cannot leave anything to chance in what will be a very close election. And when you look at Donald Trump, he has shuttered his minority outreach. He is doing nothing on the ground. His only investments into paid media are by the week and in certain states. That is not how you win elections. That is not how you build coalitions. And so we're encouraged by the work we're doing on the ground.
Kevin, I'm going to circle back to one question I asked you earlier just to make sure I get a clean answer on that. What would you say to small business owners right now who are struggling? And we've also had voters say to us, inflation may be going down, but I don't see those prices going down at the grocery store. Help us make sense of all of this.
You have one candidate in this race that is fighting every single day with a historic agenda to lower costs for the American people. Healthcare is more affordable because of Joe Biden. Donald Trump wants to gut the Affordable Care Act. Prescription drug costs are lower because of what Joe Biden has done. Donald Trump wants to reverse that progress. There is more work to be done, and that is why you need to elect Joe Biden, who is working every single day to do more work to lower health care costs, do more work to lower housing costs, cap insulin for every single American, and make those everyday prices a lot cheaper than they are. That is why Joe Biden is going after junk fees. These are things that Donald Trump does not have a plan for and has no interest in addressing, because that doesn't matter to somebody that lives at Mar-a-Lago.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. Also, don't forget to click that red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.